Hi, all. Welcome to episode 4 of the Gameweek Navigators. We are covering up the position wise player picks to select or players to select in your drafts at the moment so that you guys can all enjoy tinkering at the moment. We have reached the forward category, the last one. So we started with goalkeepers and defenders, then we moved on to midfielders and we covered up as premium and mid-priced budget options as two separate clips. And now we move on to the forwards category, and I have FPL Masala Nehal with me, and we are going to go through some of the forward picks that you should have or you should consider before the season begins, as there's a lot of preseason games left, and we'll get more info, but just the players to keep in mind while you tinker around.
Hi, Aditya. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, as of now, we're just in the start of the preseason games, so a lot of more information to come down the line, but just like a revisiting of what we expect and what our forwards look like for this season. So we have bunched them into premium, mid-priced, and budget picks. So we can just jump over to the premium section.
I think the premium section will be very evident with
Yeah.
just the select few players. And this guy scored 2 goals today in the preseason. He scored one within 7 minutes of his appearance in the second half. So again, it's just telling us you better have me.
It's I mean, it's fairly a no-brainer pick as of now. He's going to be the talisman to the attack. Potentially going to be the pen taker now that Riyad Mahrez is outside. So it is basically a no-brainer, especially with the amount of ownership he already has. 85% ownership at this stage of the season. If we are not even into the start few, we still gonna get more managers coming in. So that 85% ownership is going to be one to watch out for the season. Good,
Yeah, so
good.
I mean, it's pretty evident with his numbers what we saw last season, and I think it's pretty much a must-own at this point, and everybody's going to slot that 14 million off, saying that that's for him.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically you're playing with 86 million to pick the rest of your squad as of now. That one spot is always going to be there, and he's always going to be an option for perma captain. So you can just set and forget him as a captain, which makes FPL a little boring sometimes. But then you know what it is. It is 85% ownership you're going against. So are you ready to take that threat to your rank if he bangs? Like even last season, 36 goals, highest goal scorer throughout Europe's top leagues, Golden Boot winner all throughout Europe. XG of 28.4. That's insane numbers throughout the season. Scoring 36 goals out of it. I mean, it's you can't even say that's overperformance because everything, literally everything, was going through him. Everyone was there to make space for him. Everyone was there to make chances for him. uh, 59 big chances, 22.5 minutes per shot. That is like elite numbers. You won't find those numbers in a player that is not a good finisher. He is a great finisher as well, and he's called Cyborg for a reason. He's going to be scoring these bucket load of goals. Pep wants him to be that star performer for his team, and he wants him in the box all the time. So like 115 shots out of his 123 are from within the box. So that means that he's not going to be taking all of those long rangers that is left for players like Rodri, KDB to do. So it's going to be a challenging season when it comes to facing Manchester City. We can expect a lot of goals from them again.
I mean, there's not a lot to talk on him. So we're going to
Yeah.
go to the next option. I mean, pretty much evident that's Harry Kane, and it's very tough,
Even
right?
Yeah, I mean, if his price was a little lower, to be honest, like say around 11.5, it could create a debate point. But right now at 12.5, if he's just like 1.5 below Haaland, nobody. I don't think so. Anybody is actually looking for him in replacement to Haaland. You could go into a two premium structure with Kane, but it's very unlikely because you then are very low on your midfield options because you want to use those funds somewhere else. But from a numbers point of view, he had a great season. Second highest goal scorer in Europe behind Erling Haaland. And the best part about that was he did it so nonchalantly. Not a lot of people were like expecting him to be that high in numbers. He scored one goal more than Mbappe last season, which says big thing about him in a Spurs setup, which was supposed to be defense first. A 30 goal season, 9 assists. Also the way he was used under Conte as a creator, when he had to drop a little deeper to open those wings up, adds to his FPL potential. So he's still ranking number one for shots in the box, like about 130 attempts just from within the box.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately with Kane is that with everyone going for Haaland, I mean, nobody's going to have funds to go in for Kane. But I'm just going to throw out hypothetically, perhaps if he had gone to the club that he was supposedly rumored to join, I mean, with rumors, then that would have gotten a big discussion. But unfortunately, at
True,
this point, people will go for Son or Kulusevski or Madison to cover up Spurs rather than going for Kane. So that's the
for
only
sure.
drawback here,
I
unfortunately.
mean, if even with what Postecoglou believes, and he believes in the short numbers and short volume, so that is going to be a big factor for Kane's points potential. But then again, as you said, he can be covered by Son and Madison, Kulusevski in the attack. So I don't see a lot of ownership coming his way. Maybe say around by the time season run like starts, you can see like 18 to 20%, but that is also a little lower than what we expect from Kane in terms of ownership. Last season, it became so easy to get that premium in, so a lot of people were looking at getting a similar setup. But this year, the pricing is a little competitive, so makes it difficult for us to get that from the start of the season. Maybe in the end of the season, when you have a better team value, you can afford the two together up top with having a decent mid-price midfield. But then that's a debate for later.
Yeah, we'll see if he ends up staying at Spurs. So that's one to watch.
Yeah,
That's the big
that's
thing.
true. Yeah, apparently Bayern is really keen, and he's also on a house hunt over there. So signs are there that he could leave, and then it's a entire different narrative. Then we can speak about it once we get there, once that's finalized. So,
Okay, then I think we are done with the premium segment. We just have two forwards at the moment because that's how the pricing worked out so far. Next, we move on to the players, the forwards that are priced 8 million, and obviously that's Gabriel Jesus we start with. And it's more or less like if you want to cover Arsenal besides Saka in terms from the front line, then I think he's your man.
yeah, I mean, second highest goal scoring team last season, Arsenal. He's If it wasn't for his injuries, I was expecting him to have a very big season. But then again, with Gabriel Jesus, you get two sides of him. You get one which is like the flair, high scoring, everything he takes a shot goes in. If you have seen from his MLS All-Star game, that chip was mental. That shouldn't be going into goals. So he has that quality. But then on the flip side, some days you'll see him bang in front of the goal and miss it. So that is something that you get with Jesus. So you got to be really careful when it comes to his streaky performances. But then his numbers and his data is amazing as well. 26 big chances from 26 appearances, like starts. That is great. If he would have had a full season, I was expecting him to get at least a 20 goal season. Still ended up with 11 goals, 6 assists, which is still not a bad thing. But then again, with Arsenal's attack, we have seen last season as well. You can't pick one player which is going to get the bucket of goals for them. Arteta's system is designed in such a way that if one player is not getting the goals, the other one steps in. So there is going to be a lot of distribution of points expected from Jesus's end, with shared with Martinelli, Saka. Odegaard, even Kai Havertz has come in this season. He's in the midfield role as per FPL, but then we can expect him start up front as well few games, because Arteta also mentioned that he just adds a different dynamic to their squad, and there would be games where they might look to start him up front or in a two striker system with Jesus, which I think would benefit Jesus more than what he's doing right now, because as of now, when you see from an eye test point of view, he tends to drift a little wide, pulling some defenders out of their position, which opens up spaces for players like Martinelli or the midfielders like Jaka, who is getting a lot of benefit from that kind of movement from Jesus, because he was pulling defenders away, and then the ball comes towards Jaka, which he used to usually convert into goals. So there is always going to be that aspect, but from a player point of view, like from a footballing sense, he's a very good player and he adds a lot of value. From an FPL sense, it makes sense to start with him, because that 8 million price point is covered and you can always downgrade to someone lower. So but positive signs, let's see how it goes for him in the season. He might be one of the bandwagons when it comes to start of the season, like around 30% ownership as of now. So we can expect that to inflate to around 40-ish, which is still a good amount of ownership,
Yeah,
especially
I
with the
mean,
fixtures that Arsenal has.
yes, yes, exactly. I was just going to get to the Arsenal's. The first few games are very good on paper. I would say the word
Yeah,
paper very importantly, because football is a very funny game. So,
especially the start of the season. You can always find upsets.
yes. So, I think, yeah, 8 million, and with the fixtures, he's a no-brainer. And last year, even when he was announced, I think his ownership was way, way close to like 60, 70 odd percent, right?
Yeah,
People were
I
wondering. So,
remember.
and this time it's with Haaland, but that's how
Yeah,
things
but
plays.
last time the pricing was such that he was way more affordable. I think he started at like 7.5 last season or
I
less.
think he
I
was
think
the same.
7.5. He
No,
was 8.
he was 8, I think, as far as I
Uh-huh.
remember.
Uh-huh. Yeah, the
So,
pricing
yeah.
was such that you could invest in those three forwards and then big at the back kind of situation that was going on at the start of last season. So yeah, I still expect his ownership to be around 45% when the game kicks in because of the fixtures.
Okay, I think we're done with this particular pick. Let's go to the next one. That's Ollie Watkins, the forward who got completely rejuvenated under Unai Emery. They have European football. He looked very good. Villa have signed Musa Diambi from Leverkusen now. That's also going to, impact maybe his returns, or it might improve his performances, because he turned out to be great towards the end of last season, or maybe precisely under Unai Emery. So
Yeah,
another good pick.
for sure. I mean, under Unai Emery, you could see a different striker altogether. Under Gerrard, he had a different role, but Unai Emery gave him the free movement to be the most advanced player on the pitch. If you look at it from a very formation wise, on paper they set up as a almost as a 4-3-3, but then when you look at the games, you'll always see him being the most advanced. And last season you had Bailey that was cutting in from the right and giving him a second striker option. This season I expect that to be Diaby, which also would improve his potential to score goals, because Diaby's supply is way better than what we expect from a Bailey. At the end of the season, he finished with like 15 goals overall, but all of out of the 15, 13 came under Emery from game week 15 onwards. That is like crazy numbers for a striker. Like around 20 games, you're scoring like 15 goals, 13 goals. That's elite numbers. So he also recorded like fourth highest big chances received, and he's like among one of the hot prospects when it comes to picking forwards this season. But then he's not getting the amount of traction that someone like a Jesus is getting, is because it's also related to how we expect Villa to start their season with the fixtures they have. In addition, also what players he's going to be playing around. He benefited a lot from Buendia being there with him up top, but it is also expected that McKinn can be in that advanced 10 role. So it's one to watch for now from my end. But he's a very good pick on himself, like, by himself anyways.
Yeah, I mean, the reason he's not getting enough traction is probably his price point. So if he was maybe 7.5, that would have made him the king in that price bracket. But unfortunately, he's priced with Gabriel Jesus at 8, and people will tend to look at Arsenal having better fixtures. And Arsenal
For sure.
obviously played better than Villa last year,
Yeah.
finishing second, but Villa played well under Emery. I mean, we have both the sides of discussions there. But again, he's a good pick, but again, one to watch. So we're done with Watkins. Let's move on to the next
Yeah.
player who kind of destroyed many FPL managers. Finished towards the end of last season. That's none other than Callum Wilson. So the Wilson
Yeah.
Isaac debate
I
starts
mean,
again.
I was on the bad side of the variance. I had Isaac at the end of the season, and then Wilson literally tore me apart, especially that big double game week, I think around game week 35, 36, where he literally got 2 goals and an assist, and Isaac got an assist only. So, again, with Wilson, if he's fit, you can expect him to see scoring a lot of goals. His numbers almost rival something like what Kane gets out of at Spurs. So he is he scores like about a goal every 108 minutes. So that is like almost a goal one per game, which is impressive when it comes to when it comes to the numbers. He's only second to Haaland. Haaland is like around 87 minutes per goal. So this is like elite numbers, second in the league for that. Ended the season with 18 goals, 6 assists. In the last 6 appearances, he made scored 5 goals. So if he's fit, if he can maintain his fitness over prolonged periods, I expect him to get like that 25, 26 goals season. But Wilson, he is literally a man walking on sticks. He can break down anytime. So if you know he's fit and he is in his streaky form, just pick him. But then again, the price bracket that he is in, he's competing with the likes of Jesus, and especially with the fixture run for at the start of the season for Newcastle, it's not the best. So one to watch out for a little later in the season, say game week 5, or when the fixtures turn for Newcastle. That is when I would be interested in going for him, and hopefully by then he has not gotten injured.
That's a
Yeah,
very funny ending to that. I mean, game week 6 is when Newcastle's fixtures tend to turn. They play Sheffield and Burnley. And Harvey Barnes has joined Newcastle. We got the official announcement earlier today. So maybe when we talk about Newcastle in the team preview episode, I think Leon, it's FPL Run Farm, he'll probably give us better insights on how Newcastle will play and all. With obviously they are part of the Champions League this season, and that's going to have an impact. So I think
for
we'll
sure.
wait for that. And with that, we end this particular segment of the price bracket, not the episode. We'll move on to the next. That's the 7.5 million bracket of forwards. And obviously, there is Liverpool bias here. I can see two names, not in terms of bias, but they are priced in that manner. And obviously, we have the third forward who's getting in a lot of drafts over the last few hours.
For sure. I mean, but when it comes to Gakpo and Nunez, let me just take it from there because I support Liverpool. I watched their preseason game, and there was a clear distinction in the kind of roles both of them are going to be playing this season. Gakpo is going to be that false nine, very Bobby replacement kind of thing. But when it comes to Nunez, he's going to be the target man up top for us. And it would depend on what kind of team we are playing. So a lot of Roulé expected in this position from Klopp. We could see those 60-30 appearances being made, especially with with the likes of Jota also being available to play up front. So this position for Liverpool going to get a lot of chances, but then we don't know who's going to be starting day in and day out unless we have like an injury. Unfortunately, to any one of them, it's impossible to nail a spot from the two of them. Uh, if you look at from a numbers point of view, we could see Darwin Nunez get like about uh, 12 xg last season. He just scored 9 out of them, so we can always see him as that finisher who's not going to have that end product, but the bulk of chances, like even last season, he was taking like about 4.5 shots per 90, which is like the highest in the league. But then the conversion out of that is basically per goal he takes like about 0.11 shot on target. So that is like uh, that shows that his finishing is not as clinical as we expected from him. So he's going to get those chances. Then if he's a different player this season, hopefully he'll convert them to goals. But it was a disappointing season from him. Gakpo at the end of the season took that number 9 role, false 9 role from Bobby Firmino, and was a different player together. He brings in the players into the game, and that's what is really exciting. And he's an excellent finisher. He can finish with either foot, and he was going to be picked as one of our players of the season. So you can imagine the amount of impact that he had at the end of the season. So, but again, from a FPL point of view, I cannot suggest any one of them because both of them are having the X minutes risk. Do you have anything on them, or do you want me to move on to
I
Nkunku?
no. I mean, the thing with Liverpool is that I think it would be rather better if we discuss it in the Liverpool team preview stream. But that you
Yeah,
folks have Gakpo, Nunez, Luis Diaz, and Jota, four folks fighting for two spots. Two will play, two will be bench. We don't know who's going to be that. So
yeah.
I think
it's
that
it's
headache.
difficult to, yeah, it's very difficult to guess what's going to be a starting lineup from now, because we have a lot of quality and all of them are fit. Last season it was easier for us to understand which player is going to start because we had a lot of injuries, so we were left with a fewer options. But this season is going to be very difficult when it comes to nailing down a forward. Everyone's on the Nunez mania, but if you would have seen his goal, he was lucky. He was really lucky. He got a pass from one of our ex players, Cruyff. He used to play at Liverpool. He tried to pass it to Mo Salah, and the ball ricocheted back to him. So basically, it was a bad decision in his place to pass it to Mo Salah. He should have taken the shot first time. Got lucky, he got the ball back, put it in the net, and people went Nunez mania. But it's going to be a long season ahead for him again. When it then now when it comes to Nkunku, he is an exciting prospect. Expected to play that false nine free role kind of thing at Chelsea. Even in the friendly last night, if you could see, he was almost the most advanced player in the team. Was linking up well with all with the wingers, and he got that one goal for them as well. So if you look at his numbers from Leipzig, he was an elite finisher over there as well. He got about 16 goals, 4 assists from an XG of 14.4 and an XA of 4.3. So from a goal scoring point of view, he can finish, and he can finish with like either foot. He's got the flair of taking that outside the box shot as well. And about three shots per 90 from the box. So that is again exciting numbers to look at. He's going to be the pick from Chelsea for me, because he's going to be the nailed forward, I believe. Nicholas Jackson had a great link up last night with all the wingers, but then a big money signing, a statement signing from Chelsea. Don't see him not starting. Even if he's not starting, I think he would be in that number 10 role.
Yes, I was just going to talk about Jackson. Obviously, I mean people who play FIFA foot will know how good Nkunku is. I got the game
Yeah.
here because he's insane in the current game, and in reality as well, he's a great player. Unfortunately, he got injured before the World Cup and wasn't part of it. But yeah, his numbers were have always been good over the past 2 seasons, and Chelsea kind of caught him right at the start of last season's summer window towards the end, but it was like more of a very not directly announced, but all the folks knew that it
Yeah,
can only be
it
done.
was it was an
Yeah,
open secret. Everybody knew about it, but nobody talked about it.
yeah. So I mean, yeah, 7.5. He's a good option to pick, and Chelsea's run of games improve. I think game week 2 onwards.
Yes.
So we are going to see a lot of people going for Chelsea assets. They play Luton, Nottingham, Bournemouth, Villa, and Fulham the next five from game week 3 to 7. So there's going to be a lot of traction towards him.
Um, I mean, from an attacking point of view, even game week one is not bad for them. Liverpool's defense isn't the most watertight defense. If it's always down to Allison making those wonder saves for us. And again, the preseason game, we saw that we were very wide open, especially with the loss of Fabinho. I can see a lot of goals in that game from Chelsea and from us as well. So it's going to be a high scoring game. So I think we could start with him. Like it's not a very bad option. Even if he blanks the first game from game week two, you have those great fixtures kicking in. So that's basically one transfer less that you have to make down the line if you want to get him. So I think personally I might start with him over Jesus because of the point five that I can use somewhere else in upgrading like a 7.5 midfielder to a Martinelli and covering for the Arsenal attack. So there it's permutations and combinations as of now. So I think personally he's a decent pick to start the season with.
Yeah, I'm just waiting to see if Poch plays Jackson alongside him, probably him ahead and Nkunku behind him. We need to wait and see whether that happens because
Yeah.
Nicholas Jackson has looked good over the last 2 games. Although, yeah, it's preseason friendly, we shouldn't get carried away and all those things are there. But Chelsea don't have European football. They have a statement to make and they are being managed by Poch. So I think there's a lot of things for them to prove this year and hopefully we'll get more info because they're part of the Premier League. I think what is it, USA Summer Series? So 9 games in
Yes.
9 days. One is done. In another 9 days, we'll know the results.
Yeah,
So
I mean it's a good initiative from Premier League to bring football to the US, and we get more games, we get more data. So I'm all up for it.
okay, then the next we'll move on to is probably the 6 million and below budget enablers. You'll need them if you're going with Salah or you're playing 3-4-3. Lot of options. Now, the disclaimer here is that some of the picks may not be nailed on. We need more data if they start regularly in the preseason or there is some transfer movement here and there in their respective clubs. So it's just again like a watch list data here. So please bear that in mind.
Yeah, especially with the names that we are going to be presenting right now, could be a lot of rotation risk around them. For example, the first name that we have on our deck here, Julian Alvarez, great player, but cannot be guaranteed for starts in all games. But with KDB's injury, there is a very slight possibility that he starts instead of Foden, and Foden plays the right wing because it's a shoe in between Bernardo Silva and Foden if Mahrez is actually out of the door. So we can expect Alvarez to start a few games at the start of the season, but there's nothing that is guaranteed. He can also play off the right wing, but then I from what I've seen, Pep prefers him very in the central positions closer to the goal, being the second striker, a very Gundogan-ish kind of role that Gundogan used to play last season. If you look at from a numbers point of view as well, he's finished the season with like about 9 goals and 6 assists, and out of the 9 goals, the 3 goals that he scored were in the last 5 game weeks. That is when KDB was almost out of contention with his injury. So one to watch out for sure, but not nailed for a long term pick because at 6.5. Maybe you can do in a little better with our with the next person who is on our list as well, with Dominic Solanke. 6.5 talisman to Bournemouth. He's going to be under new management this season. Uh, from what I know about Ireola, he is a very attacking manager. But from a numbers point of view, you can see that Solanke just got like 6 goals last season and 7 assists, and that was from about 9 xg. So fairly big underperformance there. But then there was a struggling Bournemouth side, which he managed to keep afloat with the likes of Otara and Tavernier. He at the end of the season, you could see he was linking really well with them, and the bulk of the goals was going to be scored by this front four, including Billings. So one to watch out for if you want a set and forget 6.5. He's your answer. He takes the pens as well. I don't remember a lot of penalties for Bournemouth last season, but a pen taker is a pen taker. If they get it, he's going to be taking it. So one to watch out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Alvarez, he started today's preseason game. He scored a very, very excellent goal. I mean, in terms of City just pressing the keeper gave the ball away to Phillips and he just tapped it in. So, yeah, as you said,
Classic City.
yeah, he played right in the middle, not out wide. And KDB was on the bench. He didn't come up. I'm not sure. I saw the game up to like 70, 75 odd minutes. KDB was named on the bench. So Pep is again fooling us, and I'm pretty sure he'll start this season.
You
And yeah, Solanke's
never know.
numbers were good. I mean, whatever I have written up here, very small note here, is that he had 76 attempts on goal. So that's I think the second best or something under forwards for a price
Uh-huh.
under 6.5, and his XG was 9 as what you said. So I mean, it's a good pick, but fixtures are again is what putting people off, because if you see their, I think, run of games, if you quickly see West Ham, Liverpool, Spurs, Brentford, Chelsea, Brighton, Arsenal, it's like you're not really convinced.
Yeah, yeah. Not a lot of goals to be scored over there. Plus, new management, we don't know how it's going to be, to be honest. It's going to be an attacking mindset for sure, but then what is the output of it? That is something we need to wait and watch. Also, how many of us are like planning to go with a three striker system? That is also going to be a major factor when it comes down to Solanke being a pick, because if you're looking at the three striker system, you're always going to have Julian Alvarez or even Avenui starting over Solanke, because both are going to be in a more attacking system when compared to what we saw from Bournemouth last season. But again, new management, we have to wait and watch as of now.
Yeah. So what about Taiwo Awoniyi? I mean, what do we
Uh,
do?
I mean, great numbers from the end of the season, but and his goals were actually one of the reasons that Nottingham Forest managed to cling on to the Premier League status. He cemented his spot at the end of the season. He is going to be one who I think personally who's going to start up top with with either Johnson if he's still at the club, and Gibbs White on the other side. So it's very likely that he keeps starting till he has like a bad performance, and which would lead to him losing his spot to say someone like a Wood or a Dennis. But that when you look at the numbers as well, he only had like 6.92 xgi over the entire season, scored 11 like 11 goal involvements, from that 10 goals, 1 assist. So you could also categorize that as overperformance, but also categorize that as a good finisher. So it's
Yeah.
it's the narrative you wanna believe in. So I would say, from what I have seen of him, he was a ex Liverpool academy player. So I have followed him for a bit now. Even at Union Berlin, he was great when he came to the league as well. He's got that pace. He's got he that strength to match to what the EPL standards are right now. He's a good pick, but then again depends on what we expect from Nottingham Forest again this season. If they keep their attacking mindset that they were believing in at the end of the season, not holding games like what they did in the start of the season, he's going to be one player who's going to be scoring a lot of goals, and he most likely is going to be a starter. The good thing about Avanui is also that he can play off the wing, so that gives him another option to start. So if even if Forest go and sign a main star striker, he's always got that option to be a winger of the left.
Yeah, I mean, Forest, I think, they're not officially announced, but we've got few news that they've signed Anthony Ilanga from United for about 15 odd million. So
So that's
Ilanga is
one
priced
winger
five.
spot.
Yeah. So Ilanga is priced five as a midfielder. We'll see whether he's worth getting in our squads as an enabler. That's something to discuss later. But we're done with the 6.5 bracket for now. Next, we're going to the 6 million bracket. And yeah, these players have either good fixtures or have performed well last season or have shown good, promising performances in the preseason. That's how the three names are here.
Yes, that's accurately how you described the three names over here. Calvert Lewin, big disappointment again, cannot manage to keep himself fit. But that fixture run at the start of the season for Everton is tempting a lot of people to look at him. He's a perfect player for a Dice system. Put the balls in. He will get those first headers in, win the ball, and score goals. But then it again depends on if he can manage to keep himself fit. So from what we had from him last season, he just scored 2 goals and got 1 assist. But the XG he created was about 5.8 XG, and getting 2 goals out of that is a mark of a player who is just always coming back from an injury and then getting injured again, not getting into the momentum of things. If you look at his per 90 numbers as well, 2.32 shots per 90, that is good. But then but then the sporadic nature of him appearing for the club was the reason that he never gathered that momentum. So he's going to be one to watch out for. But there is, with that fixture run, you are tempted just a little bit to go with him from the start. But personally, I would call him as a wait and watch. If he manages to keep himself fit for a longer period of time, then he's an option.
Yeah, I mean, I made a mistake in the last slide. It's Solanke had the most attempts on goal with 76 for forwards priced. Now forwards were priced under 6.5. It's not second.
Oh,
He had the most
uh-huh.
attempts in goal, the price bracket. And there are a few names here which are interesting, which we are going to discuss. First was Solanke, then it is a certain Brighton forward. Then we have Danny Ings and we have Julian Alvarez, who are right up in the bracket. So I mean, Ings. Let's go to Ings and then we'll go to Wilson. I mean, Ings looked good in the preseason so far. I think he was rested in the last game,
Yes.
but Skamaka might go. We're not sure. We don't know whether it's the spot is between him or an Antonio. We're not sure what's going to happen. And there are something came up that Moyes might change the system here and there, so we're not sure. So
Also with
Ings,
Antonio, there is a chance that he might leave the league. There is strong Saudi links with him. So again, that makes it doesn't solve a lot of things for us, but makes Ings a good pick overall as well. If you look at his career, he's a very clinical finisher, very clinical finisher. If he has eyes for the goal, he is going to get the ball in the net. So just another thing with him is he's very injury prone. So that is one to watch out for Danny Ings. But once if he's hot and he's in form, straight into my team every time. I remember 2 seasons back, he was owned like about 3%, and that helped me get my rank of 20K at the end of the season when he was scoring goals for fun for Southampton. So those were the days I remember Ings from, but his injury record isn't the most promising.
That's the worrying fact. That's the thing.
Yeah,
But there is another West Ham player people will go for. He's in the midfield. He was priced 1 mil more. So I think that's where
yeah.
the majority of managers will end up going. Okay,
Exactly.
next is Yoan Visa. Tone is suspended until January 17th or something. And it's Rambo was going to play up front, or Kevin Shade is going to play, or Visa. We need to see that. I think Brentford are playing tonight, the time where when you're recording the video, they're playing in the summer series. So we'll get more info. Any thoughts on Visa?
Vissa, from what I can gather, is going to be the central striker when compared to Shad and Bumo. So I expect him to start in the middle. Left side uh, could be Shad, and right side could be Bumo, as people are also predicting it to be. So if you look at his numbers from last season, he ended with like 7 goals and 3 assists from 16 starts. But the only thing is, he whenever he starts, he tends to get substituted fairly early into the game, like around the 60-61 minute mark. So that adds to him not getting those high FPL numbers. But if whenever you see him on the pitch, he was used as a very big impact sub from Thomas Frank last season. Whenever he was on, he was very close to the goal, always looking threatening, always was replacing Mbuemo in those situations. But this season he's going to be a pivotal striker, at least till Tony comes in, or Brentford go in and sign a new striker, which they are linked with Brennan Johnson as of now. So it's one to watch out for. But with the 6 million, I think since the way Brentford play, they only deal in big chances. I think he can make a mockery out of that price. A lot of people looking at Boomo as an option. I would strongly consider Visa as well.
Yes, I have nothing here. So we're going to the next. That's I think 6 and 5.5. The certain Brighton forward will pop up, and that was Danny Welbeck. But I am very much interested in another Brighton forward who has joined in for a club record fee, who scored a goal and an assist today. The Joao Pedro, who's just 5.5.
Yeah, the best part about Joao Pedro is he can play all throughout that front three positions. He can play as a right winger, left winger, as well as a striker. And from what I know, what I could gather from last night's game, he was fairly central when he came on. So I can expect a good season from him. But the only thing from how Pedro always that you see is. There's going to be a lot of rotation when it comes to the amount of players that Brighton have in those positions. Like if Enciso, like there were a few negative things that were coming out from the people who watched the game from Brighton's end, seeing that Enciso was not the part of the main squad and was being a little aloof. But if that comes into play, then he's going to be a good competitor to march for his position. That is one. Then the central position is always going to be a shoe in between the three Brighton players that we have on screen. A deep dive just into his numbers from last season in the championship. He scored like 11 goals and 4 assists, and got the 11 goals from 8.8 xg. So that could say he was lucky, but also could say that he's a very clinical finisher. But from what I saw from him when he was at Watford in the EPL a season back from last year, he's an exciting prospect. Can score with both feet, has good dribbling skills, good close control. A good player, a player that De Zerbi would love in his system, because he's got that forward pressing ability. He's got that pace which De Zerbi likes in transition. So if he cements a spot in the front three, one to watch out for, one to pick from the beginning. So I am keenly looking at all Brighton preseason games just to find out the conundrum between the three we have on our slide right now. Who gets a starting spot in the central position? If we don't know who is that, the starting forward, who is how is João Pedro fitting in on the right or on the left? Is he going to be that impact sub off the bench, or is he showing in for a starting position? Off the left is very difficult with Mitoma, but off the right there is a chance that March might be phased out over the season. So let's see, like, where we going with this right now.
Yeah, I mean Brighton really is like a roulette spin here. There's a fourth
Correct.
forward also. That's Dennis Unda, who's priced 5.5. So I'm adding another name that we really don't know who's going to play. But out of all the four, I mean three here and the fourth name, it's only Welbeck's numbers that have been great last season. Evan
Yeah.
Ferguson had performed in spells, but Welbeck is the guy who had great numbers. I mean XG of 9.4, 30 chances created, 62 attempts on goal. So I mean, he's proven Premier League player. He's played for two clubs in the past. So we need to see here with Brighton. We don't know who's the right pick at
and
all.
And the good part about it was, Welbeck, being that injury prone last season, rarely got injured, and that means he's worked on his fitness. So if he can get that starter spot at Brighton at the forward position, one to watch out for sure.
Yes, I think we're done with the Brighton boys. Let's go to the next one, and that's now we're dropped a bit low. That's 5.5 mark, and we have element NDI from Sheffield, Otsone Edouard, and Matheus Cunha from Wolves at 5.5. I think two of these three players are good prospects. Obviously, I think NDI solely because that 11 assists and 14 goals last season, the championship.
Yeah.
So he has good numbers, and I think only the drawback will be the fixtures, sort of here and there. But he's 5.5. There's nothing wrong with that price in those games. And Edward also has looked good so far, and he's obviously Hawks' favorite forward. Very much evident.
Yeah, you can never say with Edward as well. The kind of Edward sometimes you get is a clinical finisher. Sometimes it's so bad that you cannot justify his starting position as well. So it's one to monitor, but at that price point, with being in an attacking Crystal Palace system, he's a good option to go with. The one that really excites me out of these three is NDA again. 14 goals, 11 assists, as you mentioned, and also has a great ability to win back the ball from in the midfield area and carry the ball. He's very aggressive when it comes to winning the ball back, and has really good close control. And if Sheffield has to stay up this season, NDA has to have a big season. And that is also what I've heard from a lot of Sheffield United fans as well. They're very excited with him deciding to stay at the club and not joining Marseille, even with that big opportunity that he got. So, one to watch out from all the championship teams this year. The quality that he has is the best amongst in this bracket at least. Why we have Cunha over here is only because he's going to be a 90-minute man. I spoke to a lot of Wolves fans about this, and he's expected not in the striker position, but in the 10 position right behind the striker. That we are going to expect a big roulette in the striker spot because of Wong being there, Sasa Kalajic, and Raul Jimenez. With possibly Raul Jimenez, we got some reports that he might be joining Fulham, but if that doesn't go through, there are going to be a lot of spots over there in the Rule format, but Cunha is going to cement his position as the number 10. Even in the preseason games, he's one player who started all the preseasons for them. So a lot of Wolves fans are expecting him to be that player who's going to be the glue in their team.
Yes, I mean, I remember that Matthias Cunha, if I'm correct, I think he played for Hoffenheim, I think in the Bundesliga.
I'm
I'm not really
I'm
sure.
not very sure.
It's
Yeah, I'm
it's
not very
one
sure with this.
it's one of those German clubs, and he was good for them. And then he moved a big money move to Atletico Madrid, didn't work
Atletico
out,
Madrid.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's from where I remember him. He had that big money move, but never worked out. But then got sent out on loan again, and a lot of things were moving at Wolves last season. But Lopetegui is trusting in him this season, and he is going to be that glue in the midfield for them. Especially with the loss of Neves, they need someone to carry the ball for them as well. So I think that would fall down to Cunha this season. So one to pick only as a 90-minute in and out man. Not a lot of numbers to suggest he's a very good pick, but if you need someone who's going to consistently give you those 90 minutes and be a budget enabler, Cunha is one to watch out for with NDA
yeah.
in
I
this
just had
summer.
a quick check. It was a club from starts with H. Was not Hoffenheim. It is Hertha Berlin. So
Yeah.
I know it was a team with a blue logo and starts with H. I got just confused. I wasn't confident. Anyways, so we'll move on to the last two picks that we have. We have Elijah Adebayo from Luton and Cameron Archer. I think Cameron Archer is ownership is just going to go up. He's not going to play. He's going to drop in price. That's what's going to happen. Every time everybody gets butchered by the 4.5
Yeah.
million forward.
I mean, he had a very good season with Middlesbrough, so a lot was expected from him to maybe get the if Emery actually moves to a proper 4-4-2 kind of system to maybe get that second spot, striker spot alongside Archer. But with Diaby coming in, looks a little unlikely right now. Had a great season with Middlesbrough. Had a great under 21 Euros as well. He can be your 4.5 enabler, but then again, as you said, that there is a high chance that his price is going to go down. But if you look at just the numbers from last season at Middlesbrough, 11 goals, 6 assists, and he got his 11 goals from just 6 xg. So that, yeah, he could like that could be like major overperformance. But when from what I've seen of him, he's like a proper modern day striker. He's got that pace, got that strength, uh, good dribbling, can play off the wing, can play central. So one to watch out for if we are looking at him cementing into a 4-4-2 system, but it would be completely dependent on how Emery decides to set up. And we don't have a lot of options in the 4.5 bracket this season that are like going to be guaranteed starters or anywhere close to starting. Archer is the only one that comes close. So, but then with that, what happens is his ownership is going to inflate, and once the non-engaged managers find out that he's not going to be a starter, he's going to be transferred out, and the team value is going to be affected by him. So it's a pick if you want, if you expect him to start, if you're ready to take that point 1.2 hit in your team, so you can start with him because he's the only 4.5 which has even a chance of getting some appearances. When it comes to Adebayo, complete different kind of forward. He's mobile and tall, which but from what I have seen of him, he's a good header of the ball, but not a very great technical finisher of the ball. If Luton does not sign any other striker, he's going to be their starting striker. He's expected to be. Uh, he's also likely their pen taker at Luton. Got like 7 goals and 3 assists from an XG of 12.9 and a total 10 goals all competition. So, and that blank in the second game week does not sound too good to be as a pick because he there is a chance that even he falls in price when it comes down to that stage of the season. A lot of people just transfer him out. You lose that point 1, point 2 in value, but then he's the best 5.0 pick we have, and Archer is the best 4.5 pick we have as of now.
Yes. So this video is dragged on for a lot of time. We've
Yeah.
discussed we've discussed kind of everything, a little bit in depth here and there wherever it's needed. So last but not the least, let's move on to the last part. That is, we are going to summarize our best picks from each bracket. This is again a disclaimer sort of thing that it's purely based on data and what you've seen so far. Things will definitely change in some price brackets after the preseason games and the transfers ins and out. So here are our four best picks from the price brackets.
Yeah, from the premium, no brainer. Haaland has to be the pick over there. From the 8 million price bracket, Jesus, because from the start, what we discussed there, his fixture run is great. He's got good numbers in that spot. From the 7.5, I have picked Nkunku over Darwin and Gakpo as well as Isaac, only because he's going to play a very talismanic role at Chelsea, and I'm expecting a big season from him. And from what we've seen till now, the signs are very positive from the enablers and the budgets. A 90-minute man, a talisman for his own team, Bournemouth striker Dominic Solanke. So these are my picks from each of these brackets, solely based on data and from what we know as of now. Things are for sure going to change. We have a long preseason going on ahead. So come start of the season, we will revisit this and get, if there are any changes, we can always mention that, these are our picks from each bracket.
Yeah. So with that being said, we end this particular video. So we've come back to the start. So we've covered up everything in terms of the price brackets, picks from each, and we also summarized our best picks to consider. So do drop us a like and do subscribe, and press the bell icon for more updates on our live streams and videos. We'll be posting the links of the other videos in the description. Obviously, that's the midfielders and the goalkeepers and defenders. To take a look at it, and do drop us any comments or any questions on the comment section, or just tag us on our socials. Everything's available in the description. So yeah, so that brings us to the end. Hopefully you guys have a great time watching it, and we'll probably see you all in a few days or in a week's time, where we start with our team preview series where we cover each team in depth. Thanks for watching. See you all soon.
Thank you, Aditya. Cheers.